So today's topic is entity relationship diagrams. So as already been discussed about this, what is mean by entity and what is the relationship. So once again, we'll just go through the depth of this. So as we are told that entity is an object and relationship which is going to tell about the content that are being interrelated to each other. So for this, we are going to use some diagram, pictorial diagrams. We call that as a components of the ER diagram. So here we will be having this entity set, then we will be having relationship set. So first of all, we know about the details about the what is this entity. Okay. So we know about this particular entity set. So if I want any object that is there in our database, we are going to identify into two terms. So we call that an entity set. It's a group of similar entities. So I'll be like here, I can say that person is an entity, class is an entity, subject is an entity, college is an entity. Like that, we have the n number of entities where this all we consider as a set. What kind of set we call this as an entity set? We call this as an entity set. Okay, we call this as an entity set. And each and every entity has some properties. Every entity has some properties. Now these properties we call as an attributes. We call this as an attribute. So a object that you are selecting, it can be a person, it can be a class, it can be college, it can be a subject, it can be a department. For that we have some properties. Those properties we call as an attribute. Okay, so in our attribute we call that as a columns. We call that as a columns. And entity in our DBMS we call it as a table. So remember, for the DBMS, in the DBMS, entity is called as a table, attribute is called as a columns of that particular database. So how I'll be going to pictorially represent this particular ER diagrams. So if you watch this particular diagram, you are able to identify what are the entities and the attribute. So when I say oval shape, so this is the oval shape which you are identifying over here. This is are called as an attribute. We call this as an attribute. And the student which has been enclosed or it's been pictorially represented in a form of rectangle, then we call this as an entity. We call this as an entity. So here you can see college is an entity, student is an entity. Student name, student ID, student attributes, or college ID, college name. What are these? These are the properties of that particular entity. In our terminology, we call this as a attributes. So if when you tell about this about the attributes, we call this as an attribute which has been represented in a ER diagram. It is a oval shape. Okay, ellipse or oval will be calling. So we are using these particular things and the lines which is going to use for joining the attributes. Okay, and here if you see this study in, that means the student study in the college. Okay, right, or student join the college. Okay, or the student take the admission in the college. So what is this? It is relating two different entities, student and the college, with a symbol rhombus. Now this is the symbol we call as a relationship. So in the relationship, we are going to use this particular diagram. For attribute, we are using this one. And for entity, we are using this particular rectangular shape. So overall, this particular diagram, whatever you are seeing on the screen, we call this as an ER diagram. So it's a sample of ER diagram. Right? So how I'll be using this? So rectangle is entity sets. Eclipse is an attribute. Diamond is like your relationship. Lines which are going to link the entity and the other sets. Then coming over here, there are some types of attributes. Now, what are these types of attributes? We have different types of attributes where we call as a name multivalid attributes, derived attributes. Okay, and there is something called entity, weak entity. So like this, we have different types of entities and the attributes. Now, when I'm coming to the multivalid attributes, that means a attribute which is having double oval. That means if I have draw the circle double, that it will be treated as a multivalid attribute. If a attribute is being followed by underline, okay, it is in a key attribute. Okay, here I have student name, I have student address, and if I have student ID, under this if I draw any line over here, then we call this as a key attribute. If I have two circles, we call as a multivalid attribute. And if we have dotted one, dotted circle, that is dotted eclipse or an oval, we call that as a derived attribute. Now we'll see what are these attributes. Then we have double line border with a rectangle, then we call that as a weak entity. Okay, now we'll see what are these terminologies, why we are being calling that as a weak entity, why we are calling few attributes as a key attribute, multivalid attribute, derived attribute. We'll see one by one. Now these are all we call as a components of ER diagram. We call that as a components of an ER diagram. Now if you see over here this pictorial diagram, it is very important for us, and in the exam also in this unit it will be asked this particular question. What are the components of ER diagram or ER diagram? This is one of the biggest question which you're going to expect in the main exam. Okay, so what is this ER model? It is having something called entity, it is having attribute, and we have something called relationship. Okay, now coming to the entity, under that we have something called weak entity. That means a entity that is depend on other is called as a weak entity. So you have to remember what you mean by weak entity. That means this is being this particular entity. That means we have two different entities. One entity is depend on the other entity. Say example, like we have been purchase our laptop on loan. Okay, I have purchased a laptop on loan. So for that I'll be paying an EMI. So when I'm saying EMI, it is nothing but installment. So laptop has been purchased is an entity that is been called as a loan. So I have taken a loan for laptop. Loan is an entity. Then I want to pay the installment for that particular laptop which you have taken the loan. So what is happening? Loan is an entity, and there is something called installment is an entity. So what is happening? The installment is depend on the loan. So loan entity was being given a main credit rather than installment. So installment is an entity which is depend on the loan entity. So that is called as a, so here entity called loan is an entity and installment is an entity. We call that as a weak entity. Okay, we call installment as a weak entity, right? Now if you see the example here, we have something called entity. So this is a college and student. So normally if you say entity, these are this is normal entity, the student is there, college is there. So we simply draw like this. So the students study in the college, so many students join in one college. Okay, so this is a sample example. Now coming to the weak entity, so here you can see I have two rectangle box. So I have given the example of loan and installment. Here you can see the another example also. So bank account and bank. So account is an entity, bank is also an entity. So you may open any account in any bank, but bank account is an entity which is depend on the bank. Okay, so the bank entity is a weak entity. That means it is cannot be uniquely identified on its own. It relies on the other's entity. So when the entities rely on other, that depend on other, we call that as a weak entity. And how I'll be representing that one? With double rectangle. So you have to remember this. Wherever you find this particular diagram with the double rectangle, it should be understand that it is depend on some other. So it is called as a weak entity. Okay. Then coming to the attributes, we have three different types of attributes as I was telling about you. There is key entities, composite entity, multivalent entity, and derived entity. Now, when I'm saying about the first one, key entity. So, for key attributes, sorry, for key attributes. So, for every entity, we have multiple attributes. Like just now, we have taken the example of student or a college. If you see the previous diagram, so here you have seen something like a student is there, is an entity. We have student ID, name, address, contact number, age, date of birth. Like this, we have a lot of properties to related to that particular object. So entity. So now onwards, I'll be calling this as an entity. Now this is called as an attribute. So we have multiple attributes. In that, we have to identify that which can be called as a key attribute. Now, in order to know the identify the key attribute, what are the things we have to study the each and every attribute. How I'll be going to study? Now, if I go for a say example address. So I will be having the address called corresponding address, permanent address, and sometime I will be being a what you call a guest to the to my neighbor's house. So or together friends will be taking a combined room, and we are going to have the like hostel or something like that. So what is happening? A one address can be given to the 2 or 3 peoples or something like that. So what is happening over here? This is not stable. So address is not stable because I have the changing this address. Okay. So today I'll be staying in Hyderabad. Tomorrow I'll be staying in Khammam. Today after tomorrow I'll be staying in somewhere. So what is happening? This address is going on changing. So I have something like corresponding address. I have something called what is the another permanent address. So the address is keep on changing. Okay, so I cannot go with the student address as a key. So what is key? It should be uniquely identified where it cannot be changed. That is what the key we have to identify. So when I go for the student name, so can the student name be same, or can I give this as a key? No. Why? Because with the same person name, we can have 2 or 3 people in the classroom. Okay, if I say Ramesh, so Ramesh is a person who can be with the B Ramesh, C Ramesh, D Ramesh. We can have multiple names in our classroom. So I cannot rely on this. So left or is what? Student ID or roll number, my SSC hall ticket. That means what is happening over here? We have a lot of attributes. Among that, one is this identify. The attribute can be identified as a unit where it cannot be changed. Okay, it cannot be manipulated. Or once that particular ID has been given, it is been not repeated. So in such case, we have to identify that is the major key among the other attributes. So here in our case, the example student as an entity, we have the attribute called student ID. This is the key attribute. Okay, so we have a lot of attributes. Among the attributes, we are able to trace it out, which is the key attribute. So that is the definition of the key attribute. It says that it is be uniquely identified from the entity set. So here, how I'll be representing. So if this is a student, I have the name and address and all the things I have the roll number. So how I'll be giving this one? This I'll be identified by underline. So lot of keys are there, that is attributes are there. In that particular attribute, whichever the attribute has been got underlined, that is called as an key attribute. Okay, then coming to the next attribute called composite. So the composite, it says that any attribute has multiple sub attributes. Any attribute, it has multiple sub attributes. Those attributes are called as a composite attribute. So in our case, if I go with then something called the same example, student, roll number, name, age, and address. When I go for the name, nowadays you find the fashion for if you in our college, if you take the foreign students name, you can find their name like their father name and their grandfather name. So multi combination of the names of their three. So his grandfather, his name and his father name will be combined as a single name. Okay, so like that, if we have in such case, so in our case we also have such kind of names. Okay, for not only foreign, we also have like something like we have something called first name, last name, middle name. Okay, so all these names are comes under the name called category called name. So when name is an attribute, in that it has been subdivided as first name, last name, middle name. Then we call that as an that attribute, name attribute as called as a composite attribute. So the example of over here, you can see the example. So as a combination of other attribute is known as composite attribute. So here I have given the example. So take the example of student. Here I have an address. In the address I have something called PIN number, flat number, state, country, locality, something like that. Okay, so all this we call as an now whenever the attribute has been subdivided into like this, then we call this as a composite attribute. Okay, so this is what the about the composite attribute. Now coming to the multi-valued attribute. Now the double eclipse. Okay, so when I'm saying double ovals, so attributes holds multiple values is called as a multi-valued attribute. So if you use the most of us will be using the mobile phones. When I want to add a contact, new contact in my dictionary, so what I'll do, I'll be adding a number to of my friend. So when I'm trying to add the number, it will be asking following details. Say like, is this number is belongs to home number or the official number or the personal number, or the office number or something like that. So that means we in which category that particular phone number is belong, we are going to add that. So not only that, I will be having that I have the personal mobile number, I have the office number, like this. I have the multiple number. That means a person having more values, multiple values for that particular entity. So in our case here, if I say something called contact, so contact will be, how I'll be drawing, I'll be drawing a two oval, double ovals over here, and I'll be saying that that is a multi-valued attribute. Okay, so here you can see a person having the more than one number, so we call that as a phone number as a multi-valued attribute. Okay, then coming to the next one, derived attribute. So when I'm saying derived attribute, it has been, name itself says that derived. That means it has been coming from some other attribute. So a attribute that is depend as well as derived from the other attributes. Okay, ones whose value is dynamic and derived from the other attribute is called as a derived attribute. Now how I will represent this one? I will represent this in a dotted one. I will represent in a dotted one. Now suppose how I'll be going to identify. So if you say the this particular thing, now if I go with this particular attributes, so roll number is there, name is there, age is there, address is there. Then how I going to take the age? So that the age can be considered. So the age is going on change yearly. The age is changing. So to this year I have 20, and next year I will change 21. So what is happening? This age is going on changing. How it is changing? Depending upon the date of birth. So there is an attribute called date of birth. From the date of birth, age is being got defined. Okay, so from the date of birth, age is coming. So this age, instead of writing like this, I'll be saying a dotted one, that is dotted over. So when I'm going for the age as a dotted over, then this is called as a derived one. Okay, why we calling derived one? Because the age is not stable and it is coming from the date of birth. So then this age has become the derived data. Okay, so all together we'll see the example. So if you see here, this is the final example of all the attributes. So here you can see student is an entity, student ID is an attribute, date of birth is an attribute, age is an attribute, student name is an attribute, student phone is an attribute. Now if you see the student ID, so see all the attribute names, one of the attribute has been got underlined, that is this is key attribute. So this is key attribute. Then coming over here, you have more than 2 contact numbers. That's why it is multi-valued attributes. So a value which is having more than 2 values, then we call this as a multi-valued attributes. Then it has been got dotted one. Okay, so when you see this is a dotted one, that means this has been coming from either from name or student or something. So the name itself says age, that is related to the date of birth. So from this one, this has been got derived. So it is being called as a derived data type. Okay, that is derived attribute. Okay, we call this as a derived attribute. So this is the final picture of the attribute. So in the same manner, you have to write the definition, you have to give the example, and finally you have to represent this particular diagram for the attributes. Okay, then coming to the entity. So this is what the entity has been got finished. So now we are going to move on to the relationship. So coming to the relationship, as a relationship, as I told you in the beginning, that it has been used within a diamond shape. So if you see this, this is the diamond shape. This is denoted with a diamond. We call this as a relationship. So in the relationship, we have some types. What are those? We have something called one-to-one. We have something called one-to-many, and many-to-one, and many-to-many. So like this, we have different types of relationship. Okay. Now we'll see one by one-to-one relationship. So now we go with the one relationship when one instance of an entity, that means one entity, it is associated with a single instance, that means one entity and another entity associated with each other, then that we call as a relationship, one-to-one relationship. So here I will be having something like this. Then example, a person is there, passport is there. So person is an entity and passport is another entity. So every person or many of the person, maybe those who are going for an higher studies or something like that, or for job purpose, they want to go for a passport. So they have the passport. So the person has the passport. So a passport can be, one person can have only one passport. So this is one person can have one passport. So here you can say this is an example of one-to-one. So how I'll be denoting this? Here I have to write one and one. So when I'm trying to write the diagram, normally when I draw the ER diagram, when I represent as one and one over here, so that is called as a one-to-one relationship. Okay. Then coming to the one-to-one, one-to-many relationship. So one instance of an entity is associated more than one instance. Okay, that is to another entity. Then this is called as a one-to-many relationship. So here we have an example. I have the customer. I place lot of orders. So one customer can place many orders. So here I will be saying one and M. So I will be saying that one and M here. One customer is ordering a many orders. So he is placing many orders. So customer is an entity, order is another entity. So I will be going to take the like one-to-many. So I will represent one-to-many in this fashion. Then many-to-one. So reverse of this one. So one instance of the entity is associated with single instance to another entity is called as a many-to-one relation. That means more than one instance has been depend on the other. So in that case, we call that as a one-to-many or many-to-one relationship. So here I am having something like students. Many students study in one college. Okay, so many of the students are there. They will be going to study in single college. So this is one of the examples. So here I will be writing M and one. So M stands for many and one stands for one person. Okay, so this is how I'll be taking the considering the many-to-one relationship. Then coming to the final one, many-to-many relationship. So how it will be? Many instances are associated with many more than one instance of the other entity. So here I'll be having that students and the project. These are the two entities. So many students are assigned on many projects. So here somebody will be writing as n also. So don't be get confused. If I say n means n numbers. Okay. So m to m also we can write, or m to n also we can write. Okay. So here it will going to tell about that many students are being available. Those who are being assigned with n number of projects. Okay, so this is what the many-to-many relationship. So this is how you're going to represent the diagram. Now, if you see the entire diagram of the entity relationship diagram, so here you will be having the like this. Okay. So I have the entity and I have the college. Now here you see the two lines. Okay, the two lines over here, it says that I am the participant of that particular set. So here we call that as a total participant of the entity sets. So in this, what is happening? Each entity in the entity set must has at least one relationship. That means this particular entity or this particular entity should have any one relationship among the. So what is happening? What is the relation between these two entities? Students are studying in the college, so they have some one relationship. Okay, so many there is how I'll be going with this. So if we have relationship like this, normally we'll write the two lines from one to line. That will say here I'll be saying like many to many, or I can say m to 1, or I can say 1 to m, or 1 to 1, like this I can represent over here. But if I draw for the two lines, it indicates that we have been participant. That means the total participants of the college entity in that studying in the relationship. So this is what it says, that at least I am being associated with the student. At least one person is associated with the student. So when that condition comes, that means we have two lines. So when I'm giving that, there is some participation of the college with the students. So students are studying in the college. Okay. So there is a says that student, at least one student is been associated with the college. So college is student associated with the student, or student is associated with the college. So in that case, we call that as a total participation of the set. So this is been ignored over there, but if you want, you can study the extra for the knowledge. I have been telling about this, but most of the things you can wind up over here only by saying the different types of entities. So when I'm talking about the entity database, so you have to be remember these particular things. So what do you mean by entity relationship? You have to understand. Then we have to draw the diagrams like this on this particular diagram. So it's not compulsory you have to take this example only. What are the example you can find on the nearby surroundings? You can just check it over there, and according to that you can draw the diagrams. Okay, and see that when you are attempting the exam, see that you take different examples, so that there is a good impression that you have been not copied, because you know the something about the topic. Okay, so for the evaluator also he'll be very much enthusiastic to do, evaluate it. Okay, so then we have to write about the components. So we have different types of component by saying the entity, attribute, and relationship. Coming to the entity relationship, entity, we have one category, that is weak entity, which is depend on the other entity. So one entity depend on the other entity, we call it as a weak entity. Then coming to the attribute, we have something called four types of attributes are there: key attribute, composite attribute, multi-valued attribute, derived attribute. So when I'm saying about the key, so one among the attribute which is most uniquely identified, that is called the key. More than one attribute, sub attribute we call as a composite attribute. A attribute has multiple values, we call that as a multi-valued attribute. A attribute that has been derived from other attribute is called as a derived attribute. Then one entity is depend on other entity in the form of one to one to many to one, and many to many. So like this, you are going to complete your this particular ER diagram topic. Okay, so this is the one of the biggest one we ever expecting question. Always it will be coming. So blindly you can read this one. Okay, right. Then coming to the next one, graph database. Coming to the other topic called graph database. So as I'm telling about you that the storing of database can be in a form of text or an object or the video or then audio or the photograph. So we are trying to store my in my backend in whichever the format. So I want to represent the text or the contents or something like my survey results, or somebody has been participant. So I want to represent in a form of graphics. Okay, in a form of diagrams. So such kind of things we call as a graph database. So it has been no isolated pieces of information, but rich content connected domains to all around us. That means here we will be having the store, process, and queries. So whatever you want to store, you can store it, you can press, because the database itself says that I want to store, I want to process it, I want to query it. So queries, I want the questions whenever I want to pick up something. So how are we going to use this? It will be with a join operation. That means the combination of multiple queries or tables. So I have some records from one table, another records from another table, another records from another table. So I'll be trying to merge all this and I'll going to display. So how it is possible? With the help of joining the operation. So we have some concept called inner join, outer join, full join. Okay. So with the help of that particular joins, we are going to combine all the tables into single table. Now, what is the usage of that? I can display that particular content in a form of graphs. So that is what we call as a graph database. Okay. So how it will be? It is like accessing nodes and relationship in a native database. So it is independent in total of size, and it can be easily managed with complex queries. So I can have that is what the complex query is, nothing but I'm combining the more than single table, and I'll going to get a new table. So here you can say it can be a neighboring data around the initial starting point. And we have something called collection and aggregating information. So you'll be saying something like overall in this month, how many has been got salad, or how many has been got hack, okay, or what is the percentage of so total amount has been utilized. Like this, if you have different queries on the particular table, I'll be combine those things and I'll point showing in a form of pictorial representation of that. And also I was telling you like one example, like sensex is there, or I want to know what is the today's gold rate, or I want to know today's what is the silver rate, or what is the share market. Okay, so like this I can represent that all in a form of graphs. Okay, so the data is coming in a form of pictorial representation, called as a graphic diagram. Okay, so for this, in the graphs we are using the entity as a nodes, we call that as a nodes, and connections we call as a relationship. So terminology is changing from the one concept to another concept. So when I'm saying nodes, so these are the entities in the graph. Okay, right? And they can hold a number of attributes. That means it can have the n number of attributes. Okay, we call that as a property. So already the definition is same. Okay, right? Nodes can be tagged with labels. Yes, we are tagging with labels. Just now we have seen the example. Attribute has been tagged. So we have circled one attribute, and in that we have written the name as something called student ID, or we have written something called age, or we written something called name. So a oval circle with the labeled one we called as an attribute. So here, just when you're coming to the graph database, we are calling that as a nodes. Okay, right? So just names are been different, but the things have been common. So how I'll be drawing the diagrams over here? So diagrams will be in this fashion. So coming to the graph diagrams, so the diagram will be in this fashion. So there the different diagrams we are using in the entity, and in the graph diagram we are using such kind of thing. So I'll be having the circle. So here the circle itself is an entity, or we call this as a node. Okay, so coming to the graph diagram, we are calling this as a node. So here I have something called a company is there. Okay, then there is something called employee is there, city is there. So now here I can have the, when I'm going for the employee, where I'm going for an employee, you can see here. So what is happening? When I'm going for the employee, I have some name, I have date of birth. Okay, then I have something called ID. So here you can say nodes can have properties, name, values. Okay, so here you can see nodes. Employee is a node, and here we have something called name, date of birth, employee ID. These are the properties with values. What are the values? I'm a Peter, date of birth, and his ID. Now this is entirely node. So when I'm saying one node, in one node, what am I having? I am having the properties like name, date of birth, employee ID, followed by the values. So this is what we call as a node. Now, again, if you see here, here also we have something called city. Nodes represent the object also. That means here what is the city? City is it like it can be picture. So if I say Hyderabad, Hyderabad picture. So if I say India, India's map, something like, so it can be an object. So by name itself, so name, whatever the name it can be. So nouns it's saying, so whichever the comes under the name. So we'll be having the definition of the nouns with some childhood we are be learning about the like name, place, okay, person, like this we are being called as a nouns. Okay, so here we have been called as a city also we can use. That is whenever we see the city, that is been understand that it is a node. So we can have the object over here also. A node can be an object. A node can be properties along with values. Okay, then how this related to each other nodes. So here you can see relation can have the properties. So here you can have the properties like we have something called employee and the company. In one of the employee who is working. So Ampeter is an employee. He is the CEO of this company. So seeing this particular word, you can say, okay, by seeing this, okay, this is a person I'm checking for him. So he is the CEO of this particular company and he has been joined in this company in this so and so day. So a relationship also. So how the relationship I'm showing here, I'm drawing one line. In that ER diagram, we are drawing with an eclipse or sorry, diamond shape we are drawing. But here we are drawing with the lines and we are writing some information here. So the information itself says that what is the connection between these two. That is what the we have seen in the ER diagram, that college and student study in the college. So we have been represented in a form of pictorial with diagram as a diamond. Now here we are being saying, right, just we are writing some labeled one. So this is what he says. We are going to label by this. And I'm saying yes, has CEO. So has CEO is what? He is a person, employee. He is an employee of this company. He was a CEO and he has been having the start date. Now start date is again a property. In our case, it's an attribute. So for this, we have some value. So he has been joined in this company at this so and so date. Then again, if you with another node, if you see here, city is another node. Now how it will be working over here? Located in. Now located in is the action. Okay, so when I'm saying located in, it's an action. It's an a, so node can be so relationship. So again, this has been connected with line. The word has been framed over here. So saying this, we can say, okay, some action is going on. Okay, so relationship also can have the action. So the nodes, whichever you are having, I can represent the actions also. So directions I'm giving that is been connected over here, and it is saying that so and so company is at so and so location. Okay, so the location is also called as a node. So here a location, a node can have the nouns, a node can have the verbs, a node can have the values. Okay, right? A relationship can have the properties and the values. Now this is about the graph diagram. Okay, so graph database. So this is how we will be knowing about the graph database. Okay, and the last one is something called document database. Okay, now what is this document database? I'll show the sample how the data. Yeah, this is the document database. So if everyone can see this one, MongoDB. Here you'll have something called first name, last name, cell, city, year, location, type, coordinator, profession, app, name. Like this, I have information. Okay, so I have some information like this. So here you can see here. This is a document. Now this we call as a JSON document. This can be written in Notepad or Word document or any other thing. But the fashion is how we'll be writing. Like I have some name, for file name I will be having. There I will be having then a properties. So here this is a property. So first name, last name, cell, city, and we have some values followed by comma, separated by comma. Okay, nowadays this is fashion. So we are creating a lot of things. That means those who are not going to use any softwares, okay, just they want to go within a database. Okay, they want to create a database from the file. So I will be having a data like this with properties and values. So like this I will be having multiple properties and multiple values of one person or many person. Then from this I can extract the content in a tabular format, because the ultimate target is that relation database say what it says. I should store the content in a form of table. So in whichever the format you are taking, how you are processing is left to you. But ultimately in the database as a backend, it should store in a form of table. Okay, so I have a table like this. Whatever the data I'm taking from the document, it should store, and the software should take in a position that it should store the values in appropriate attributes. Okay, so here you can see from this particular database. So here from this one file, I'm able to create 1, 2, 3, 4 different tables. See, if single document is trying to store the information, so this, whatever the information that has been attached in the document, automatically it has been storing in various tables. See here, if you see here, I have something called one id is one, name is there, Johnson is there, cell number is there, then city is there, then date of birth, location, x location, y coordinates. Okay, I got this particular from one table. Then there is table called profession. So here is a profession, id is user id is one. So here this is a one id because this is related to my one, and his profession is two. So you can see here the multi-valid attributes. See, the, you find here that we have seen the definition of the ER diagram. One person has more than two values. So here we have developer and engineer. So I am talking about the example of phone. Now here you can say profession. So he's a profession. Profession by profession is a developer as well as engineer. So two values. So here you can see automatically whenever I have this one, automatically the data will store in the profession table and it will be related to that particular ID. So this is a person. So when I'm going with the person ID 1, entire data I'll be going to get. But in the back end, it has been split into different tables and been stored in different format. Okay. Then if you see here, from the profession, he has been developing some apps. He has developed the two apps. Okay, so one is my app, another is dog finder, and it is having versions. So you can see here from this only. So from the professional, he is having an user ID. See here, user ID is common. It is related. That means this table is linked to list. How? By ID. See, this is ID. Then this table is linked to this because again this is an ID, right? Okay, right? So this is becomes the master table. So this is the first one which you are seeing. This is a master table, and these are all are the child table. Why we call this child table? Because these are dependent on this. That's why I told you in the representing diagrams of entity, double entity. I was telling about two boxes of rectangle is called an entity. That means one is dependent on that. See, this is dependent on this. This is dependent on this. This is dependent because it has been user ID is coming from this particular main data. Okay, I don't require name. I don't require anything. If I take one, this one will go and check it. Who is this one? Mary. Okay, right? What is his address? I will get the address. Okay, what is his profession? This is his profession. Okay, what are the apps he developed? These are the apps he developed. That means if I put the question here in this particular box, automatically this will going to take care of pick upping from different entities. So this is one entity, this is one entity, this is a one entity. So these all one entities are depend on one another. So a single document is trying to give the data. So here you can see again he has two cars. Okay, so in 1973 he has purchased one car, in 1965 he has purchased one car. So he has in passion of that particular car. So he is the person, he is using this particular car. So a Mary is a developer of my app and he has a Rossi cars. So car is a database, apps is a database, profession is a database, personal profile is a database. So four different tables are being created from a single document. Now this is the best example of document database. Okay, any doubt regarding this?